Hi there. Welcome to Apple World. It's anything but a simple marriage. He needs to take a gander at me and see what I really want, and we need to pursue choices in light of that, not in view of what individuals figure marriage ought to be. I think, you really want to say, obviously what happened, definitely, and afterward, I got into an entrapment with August. That is what I said. An entrapment indeed is a relationship. Yes, it was a relationship in the event that there is such an incredible concept as psychological mistreatment. Jada Pinkett is supposedly the expert of it. Will Smith, as per J. Pinkett Smith, beginning around 2016, she and Will Smith have carried on with totally different lives. Jay additionally talked on the viral Oscar slap episode and was completely confounded by the whole thing. I thought this is a production, Pink. Smith told individuals not accepting it. Was genuine at first. I resembled, it's absolutely impossible that that will hit him. It wasn't even until Will began to stroll back to his seat that I even understood it was anything but a drama. She said the main words she said to Will when they were separated from everyone else behind the stage were, "Are you okay?" The way that Will Smith guarded her distinction before the whole world, and a response was to say, "Are you okay?" demonstrates what sort of an accomplice Jay is. He ought to have left her quite a while back on. Today, Pinkett Smith examined the couple's separation with Hara Kibi of NBC News. She made sense of Kibi that the pair had held off declaring their commitment since they weren't prepared at this point. They were all the while attempting to sort out among us how to be an organization. She said Pinkett Smith said that a ton of things added to the breakdown of the marriage. She explained that by 2016, we were simply depleted with attempts. I think we were as yet both sort of caught in our dream of what we figured the other individual ought to be. Smith and Pinkett Smith have been together since around 1997. They're not formally separated and don't plan to be separated by Pinkett Smith. She said she made a commitment that there could never be a justification behind her and Smith's separation, and I simply haven't had the option to break that guarantee. She made a reasonable case of the ruin of the pair's connections, and the way in which Jada was the unmistakable base of the issue was the point at which this clasp surfaced. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I rethinking our relationship? Don't simply begin shooting me without inquiring as to whether you could film me gaze. Come assist us with, again, satisfying I'm actually managing stupidity. Don't know she better believe it because she don't simply would you say that she assisted us with recuperating the damages that we caused between each other. My virtual entertainment presence is my meat and potatoes. Okay, so you can't involve me for online entertainment and not, don't simply begin roll. I'm remaining in my home. Don't begin rolling if it's not too much trouble. Watch us gaze at the red table since she's aided us a ton. Mightn't you at any point tell astonishing that Will Smith has settled on remaining with her for this long? Most of the fans' responses when this video dropped were that she has gradually chipped away at that man's spirit. I don't think she embarrassed him. I think she plainly showed how she doesn't regard him. The manner in which he answered her, being extremely cautious with his words, and to figure Will Smith might have possibly turned out to be with Margot Robbie. A great deal would be different, that is, without a doubt. Jay likewise continued to say she hasn't even drawn closer to or addressed Chris Rock since the Oscars episode. No, I haven't conversed with Chris. Do I hold on to any longing to converse with Chris? Here's my craving. I simply trust that all the misconceptions around this can be cleared up and that there can be harmony. Was she annoyed by Rock's joke? I mean, that is the very thing that humorists do. Jada said I would simply need to say that I'm not exactly here to make any judgment on how individuals choose to articulate their thoughts and express their specialty. I'll say that multiple times I've had my sentiments put without a doubt. I've had me in a horrible mood, heard a great deal by Chris, yet by the day's end, two being at the center of attention, it goes with the job. Chris Rock and Jada have not talked since the Oscars night in 2022. Yet Jada uncovered interestingly that Rock moved toward her right a short time later after the slap and left the stage. Chris boiled down to the furthest limit of the stage and attempted to apologize to me. Ja said he said I didn't mean any mischief. I said I couldn't discuss the snow. Chris, this is some old Jay likewise uncovered that while bits of gossip about her possible separation with Will were circulating, Rock had reached her to ask her out on the town. I figure each late spring every one of the reports would come out that me furthermore. Will were getting a separation, Ja said. And this specific summer Chris felt that we were getting a separation, so he called me, and essentially he resembled, I'd very much want to take you out, and I like, You mean he resembled well? Aren't you and Will getting a separation? Chris, those are simply reports. He was dismayed, and he lavishly apologized. and that was that it goes from be needed to work for Will Smith. Jada didn't regard what he had done. The man he slapped asked his significant other out, despite his good faith. What kind of wrecked circumstance is this? Before we go any further into the video, what do you all believe is next for the pair? Will Smith attempt and get a separation so he can at last continue on from Jada, or will the matches stay together? Remark down underneath. After a series of discussions that have followed Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith for as long as a year, it appears as though he's had enough of his marriage. He evidently hasn't separated from her by and by, since doing so would risk his $350 million abundance. J. May, in principle, swindled him in an unlawful fight more than their $350 million legacy, as well as disclosed humiliating things he wildly uncovered her all through their marriage. He wrongly told his better half his mysteries in general, which she may now use against him, guarantees an anonymous source. He's scared she'll cover him the second he strolls. It's generally expected information. She knows every one of the mysteries about him, and he's a very bashful, confidential man who might be detested for anything to emerge about him having to do with embarrassments, separating, and fights. The anonymous source said that Will has proactively said that J. Pinkett Smith's kinship with Tupac Shakur caused him issues and that he was tormented by their association. The 55-year-old entertainer has stood up against how G and Tupac caused him to feel, asserting that he held on to seething desire towards them. Were you ever desirous of the adoration,